If you're doing overnight foot care, such as foot cream, socks, then going to bed, and you still wake up with dry, rough feet, that's not a you problem. Most foot creams are built to feel good going on, but they don't actually hold hydration in place long enough to change what your skin looks like by morning. So you keep reapplying, you keep buying stronger creams, and your heels still stay tight, dull, and stubborn because the routine is missing the part that makes socks actually work. Today, we're fixing that. I'm making an overnight moisture socks jelly, a bouncy, cooly gel, a jelly that loads the skin with water binding hydration and then seals it in with a lightweight slip layer so you wake up with feet that actually feel different. And I'll show you exactly why this works when typical foot creams don't. Most overnight foot care is built on one assumption. If you add a thick cream and cover it with socks, you'll wake up soft. But the problem isn't effort, it's product architecture. A lot of foot creams are basically oil-heavy comfort. They feel rich, but they don't deliver enough water-binding hydration where rough feet actually need it. And even when they do have humectants, they're often not built to keep that hydration parked on the skin overnight. So you get that familiar pattern. It feels nice at bedtime, then by morning, your feet still feel tight, dry, and rough. Not because socks don't work, because the formula underneath the socks isn't doing the right job. Here's what that leads to. You keep chasing thicker and thicker products, but thicker doesn't automatically mean more effective. It often just means more occlusive. Occlusion can feel protective, but if there isn't enough water binding hydration underneath, you're basically sealing in not enough. That's why rough feet can look better for an hour, then slide right back to dry. And if you're prone to calluses, that cycle keeps going. Apply, temporary comfort, repeat. The result is frustrating. You're consistent, you're doing the routine, and it still doesn't stick. So here's the fix. Stop relying on a foot cream to do two jobs it wasn't built to do. Overnight success comes from a system that gives you real water binding hydration first, then a lightweight seal so it stays put. That's why I'm making this as a jelly, not a cream. A jelly can hold a high hydration water phase, feel cooling and comfortable, and still spread fast without that heavy, greasy drag. Then we add a slip and seal layer that plays nice with socks, so it doesn't just wipe off on fabric. In the formula walkthrough, I'll show you exactly how it's structured and how to make it come out bouncy, stable, and consistent, batch after batch. Okay, now that you know why most overnight foot care doesn't stick, here's what we're going to do differently. We're not going to rely on heavy foot creams and hope that socks magically fix it. We're going to build a system on purpose. First, real water binding hydration that actually sits on the skin, and then a lightweight slip and seal layer so that it stays put under socks all night. And I'm making it as a jelly for a reason. A jelly lets us load in hydration without that greasy drag, and it spreads fast, so you can actually use it every night without hating the feel. The lab bench is right over here. Let's go walk through the exact phases, the exact ingredients, and the order that makes this come out bouncy, stable, and consistent, batch after batch. Now, let's make the final product in our foot treatment lineup for this month. The formula for the Overnight Urea Moisture Jelly is built to do four things at the same time. Give the feet real water-binding hydration, build a true jelly texture, keep tack under control, and leave behind enough cushion and slip that it actually performs under your socks overnight. So we're going to build it in phases, and each phase has a specific job to do. As we always do, we're starting off with our water phase because this is still at its core a hydration first formula. So in this beaker, I've got some distilled water, and this is our main solvent. It's going to give us the water content that we actually want to bring to the skin. Next, we're going to be adding glycerin. This is one of our humectants, so its job is to help bind water and improve overnight softness. In this version, it's kept controlled on purpose so that the jelly doesn't get overly tacky. Next, we have butylene glycol and propanediol 1,3, and these are going to help support hydration, improve the feel, and give us a more balanced water phase so that we're not leaning too heavily on the glycerin alone. So this is the butylene glycol, followed by the propanediol. Then comes our disodium EDTA, and that's our chelator. It helps to tie up the trace minerals and metals, which supports overall formula stability and helps the preservation system to do its job more reliably. Then we have our buffer system, which is sodium citrate and citric acid, and their job is to help keep the pH where we want it so that the formula behaves consistently and the system stays better controlled. Sodium citrate in first, and then our citric acid. Next, we're going to be adding sodium PCA and panthenol, and these help to round out the hydration profile and support that conditioned, comfortable feel on the skin. Sodium PCA and DL panthenol. Then we add some allantoin, and this is our soothing support ingredient. And in this final version, it's kept lower on purpose because I wanted that skin comfort support there without pushing unnecessary crystallization. Allantoin. Then we're going to go ahead and pop this on top of our hot plate, just long enough to dissolve all of the powders before we add our urea. Okay, once all of your powders are dissolved, we're going to wait just a few minutes, bring this temperature down just a little bit, because we only want this, warm enough so that it actually dissolves our urea. We do not want to have the urea in here and cooking. That is our next ingredient, and urea is one of the real workhorses in this formula. This is where a lot of the overnight softening performance is coming from. Urea helps improve the feel of rough, dry skin, which makes it a strong fit for this kind of an overnight treatment. And get that in there, and then once this is fully dissolved, that's going to finish off the water phase. So we're going to go ahead and get the urea right in there and fully dissolve it. Once the urea has completely dissolved, we can go ahead and move on to our next stage, which is building that jelly. And so the first one that we're going to be using is going to be Sepenov EMT10. This is our primary jelly building polymer in the formula, and this is what starts creating that actual jelly texture instead of leaving us with just a thin hydrating liquid. So you want to start sprinkling this in a little bit at a time. Give that a little bit of a stir. Then we're going to bring in some Sepamax Zen, and this is the reinforcing polymer. Its job here is to help support the structure, improve suspension, and give the jelly more hold and body once the slip and seal phase goes in. Once you have both of those mixed in pretty well, we're just going to go ahead and cover this and let it be, because now that needs to hydrate. Both of those two polymers together are doing different jobs. The Sepenov is going to build the jelly, and then the Zen reinforces that jelly. And that matters because this product isn't just a gel. It's a structured overnight treatment jelly that still has to hold a meaningful slip and occlusive phase without falling apart. So we do want to just leave that there and let that fully hydrate, okay? So in the meantime, while we are waiting for this to completely and fully hydrate, we can go ahead and start building that slip and seal portion, the occlusive phase. So in a separate beaker, we're going to go ahead and start off with PEG 7 glyceryl cocoate. This is going to help the lipophilic materials incorporate more cleanly into the jelly and improve spreadability so that the finished product glides more easily across the skin. Next is cocoa caprolate caprate, and this is going to help with the spread and the rub out so that the formula doesn't feel too draggy going on. Then we add some hydrogenated polydesine. And this is one of the big performance ingredients in this version. This is where more of the overnight cushion comes from. It helps make the jelly feel more treatment-like and more protective. After that, we're going to be adding some dimethicone. This is a major part of the slip and seal system. It helps to reduce the drag, improves glide under the socks, and supports that more protective overnight feel. Give this a good stir. And this whole phase is what keeps the formula from being just a hydrating jelly. This is the part that helps it stay on the skin better, helps it feel more substantial, and it performs more like an overnight treatment. So we can go ahead and just leave this phase right here. We're going to leave this phase alone and let that continue hydrating, and then we'll come back. So I've left the gel to sit here roughly about an hour. And so once both of the polymers are fully hydrated, the batch starts to look like a real jelly. And that's when we move into the part that gives it overnight cushion and staying power. So just give it a nice good mix. It's a little on the chunky side, so I am going to go ahead and take my stick blender to it just to smooth out any lumps. And now you can see that we have a nice, smooth, non-lumpy gel that has formed. Now we can go ahead and add that slip and seal comforting phase that we had pre-mixed earlier, and just give that a real good stir. And then we can go ahead and add our preservative, which is a liquid Germal Plus, and mix that in until it's fully incorporated. After that, we go ahead and check our pH, because even when a formula looks good, the pH still has to land where the system is supposed to live. So we'll go ahead and check that now and make any adjustments that we need to. This is coming in at around a 5. So I'm going to go ahead and use some tromethamine, if that's how you say it. Don't even know, but this is a little bit better than using TEA. So I'm going to use just a couple of drops in here and then recheck. And we're getting closer to a 6 now. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone. And we are ready to go ahead and fill our container. This is going to be a messy process for me because I have chosen these containers, which have a teeny tiny little opening. So it's going to be quite messy for me. So I'm just going to use my syringe. I'm going to stick a cut in half pipette on the end just to have a little bit more accuracy, and then start filling. And here's the finished product, all packaged up nicely. And here's the consistency. Now, obviously, this isn't for your hands, it's for your feet. But what I am feeling immediately is an excellent slip. Very soft, non-sticky, rubs in and dries down relatively quickly.
There we go. Oh, that feels lovely, actually. Can't wait to use this tonight. So put this on, you guys, at nighttime, and then put your socks on and go to bed. What we wind up with is a really smooth, glossy, finished jelly. It's got body. It spreads wonderfully. It's got a controlled glide. It feels hydrated without turning sticky. There's no stick at all. And it leaves behind enough cushion and slip that your socks are actually going to help the treatment instead of wiping it away. And that's the whole point of this version. It's not a heavy foot cream. It's not just a really thin gel. And it's not relying on thickness alone to feel effective. It's a hydration first overnight jelly with a real slip and seal phase built into it. So the product has a better chance of staying where you put it and doing the job overnight. So here's what we learned today. If you want overnight foot care to actually feel different by morning, you can't just throw on any thick product in the hope that socks do the rest. The formula underneath the socks has to make sense. It needs real water binding hydration, a texture that stays where you put it, and enough slip and cushion that it still feels good to use night after night. That's what this formula is built to do. Not just feel nice going on, but function like an overnight serum. So if you like this kind of deeper formulation breakdown, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and share this video with another maker who's tired of products that sound good but don't perform. If you want the full written tutorial procedure, that's available on Patreon. Thanks again for hanging out with me today at Creation Station, and I will see you in the next formulation. If you're a YouTube channel member, the written formula and instructions are waiting for you in the description box. If you're not a member, you can also get this formula along with more than 100 others and all future releases by joining my Patreon, or you can pick it up individually in my Etsy shop. All the links are below. Choose what's right for you.